the Standing Committee of Parliament of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting gave its recommendations on TRPs way back in 2008-2009. There was also a TRAI recommendation in 2008, which was followed by the setting up of the Amit Mitra Committee in 2010. Mr. Amit Mitra, the current Finance Minister of West Bengal, was then the Secretary General of the Forum of Indian FICCI, and they recommended that an industry-led body, the Broadcasting Audience Research Council, should be put in place, which should then have the responsibility of generating those ratings. There has been progress which has been made in establishing BARC, but in the August of 2012, if my memory serves me correctly, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting made another reference to TRAI, saying that BARC is taking a little while, and so therefore would they be kind enough to look at the entire TRP process once again de novo. So TRAI gave its recommendations on the 13th of September 2013. After that, they were considered by an interministerial committee, and after the consideration of the interministerial committee, they were then taken by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to Cabinet, and Cabinet approved it today with two caveats. The first caveat is that insofar as foreign direct investment is concerned, we would make a separate reference to TRAI with regard to the quantum and the need, of course, and then followed by the quantum of FDI which should be permitted in rating agencies. So therefore, after we receive the recommendations of the TRAI on this particular issue, then the question of allowing foreign direct investment would be looked at along with FDI in other sectors of the media, both content and distribution, which has been under consideration of the ministry. So as we speak, there is no FDI which is going to be permitted in television rating agencies till the time we do not have a recommendation from the TRAI, and then depending upon what the recommendation is, we would take it forth. The second caveat is that once the guidelines are notified, they would come into effect immediately. But for existing rating providers, we would give them 30 days time to become compliant with the guidelines which would be put in place. So this, in essence, is the decision of the Cabinet with regard to the television rating agencies guidelines. The next item on the Cabinet's agenda, which was approved, was that the Union Cabinet today gave its approval for the introduction of a National Youth Policy 2014, NYP 2014, replacing the National Youth Policy 2003 currently in force. The vision of the National Youth Policy 2014 is to empower youth to achieve their full potential and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the comity of nations. For achieving this vision, the policy identifies 5 well-defined objectives and 11 priority areas and suggests policy interventions in each priority area. The priority areas are education, skill development and employment, entrepreneurship, health and healthy lifestyle, sports promotion of social values, community engagement, participation in politics and governance, youth engagement and inclusion, and social justice. The the Honourable Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports would possibly hold a separate briefing, sketching out the broad contours of this policy. Now we turn to the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the continuation of the Mill Gate Price Scheme, MGPS, along with 10% subsidy component with modifications. The scheme is now renamed as the Yarn Supply Scheme, YSS. The plan outlay for YSS during the 12th plan will be rupees 443 crores. The scheme will cover the weavers who are underprivileged as also vulnerable groups by providing them subsidized yarn so that they can compete with the power loom and the mill sector The target for the 12th plan will be the supply of 3,506 lakh kg yarn worth rupees 4,364 crores. The next item which the CCA approved was the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the proposal of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare relating to the centrally sponsored schemes for upgradation of existing state government and central government medical colleges to increase the Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery MBBS seats in the country. This will result in the increase of about 10,000 seats at a total cost of about rupees 10,000 crores, with a proposed central assistance share of rupees 7,500 crores and state or union territory share of rupees 2,500 crores. Sorry. The funding pattern will be 90-10 by central and state governments respectively for northeastern states and special category states. Thank you. And in the ratio of 70-30 for other states. The total cost of one MBBS seat is approximately rupees 1.20 crores. And finally, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the proposal for increasing the import duty on refined edible oils of vegetable origin from the existing level of 7.5% to 10%. The approval has been given in order to maintain a reasonable differential between import duty on crude and refined vegetable oils to protect the domestic refining industry and domestic farmers. That is all that we have for you. The floor is all yours.
Yes. This 10,000 seats in addition to 5,800 announced last week.
Yes, you see, that was a proposal, if I understand it correctly, to allow medical colleges to be co-located with district hospitals which have more than 200 bed capacity. So therefore, this proposal is different from that. It's a standalone proposal and essentially pertains to increasing seats in central and state medical colleges. Beg your pardon? Well, as I understand it, it is government because it says existing state government and central government medical colleges.
एक आध गाइडलाइंस बताइए क्या है जो इम्पोर्टेंट गाइडलाइंस हैं जो टीआरपीज के लिए.
देखिए, जहां तक टीआरपी का सवाल है, बहुत ही एक व्यापक प्रस्ताव तैयार किया गया है और उस व्यापक प्रस्ताव में वो सभी अंश डाले गए हैं जिससे इस पूरी प्रक्रिया में पारदर्शिता आए कि जो कंपनी रेटिंग पॉइंट्स जनरेट करना चाहती है उसकी नेटवर्थ कितनी होनी चाहिए, उसको किस तरह की प्रक्रिया अपनानी पड़ेगी, पारदर्शिता रखने के लिए क्या कदम उठाने पड़ेंगे, जो पीपल्स होम्स हैं जहां पे मीटर लगेंगे उसकी गोपनीयता किस तरह से बरकरार रखी जाए, उसके अलावा एक ऑडिट का प्रोविज़न भी है. कंप्लेंट अगर किसी की शिकायत हो उसका निवारण करने के लिए एक पूरी प्रक्रिया इसमें शामिल की गई है. इसके अलावा TRAI को और सूचना और प्रसारण मंत्रालय को ये अख्तियार दिए गए हैं कि वो रीजनेबल नोटिस देकर अगर चाहें तो ये इन कंपनीज की इंस्पेक्शन भी कर सकते हैं. तो ये एक बहुत ही व्यापक मसौदा तैयार किया गया है क्योंकि काफ़ी देर से एक चर्चा थी और एक ज़रूरत थी कि आपके इस क्षेत्र में किसी न किसी तरह का एक ढांचा होना चाहिए जिसके तहत सारी कार्रवाई हो. और इसकी जो विस्तृत जानकारी है जब हम प्रेस विज्ञप्ति जारी करेंगे तो आप उस प्रेस विज्ञप्ति में ले सकते हैं. पर ज़रूरी बात यह है कि एक पूरी प्रक्रिया के बाद TRAI ने एक प्रक्रिया का पालन किया, कंसल्टेशन पेपर इशू किया गया, उसके बाद सभी से कंसल्टेशंस हुई, ओपन हाउस हुआ, उसके बाद सिफारिशें की गई, फिर उन सिफारिशों को एक इंटर मिनिस्ट्रियल कमेटी ने उनको जांचा परखा और उसके बाद आज कैबिनेट ने उसको मंजूरी दी है।
सर, एक वित्त मंत्रालय का प्रस्ताव था सूची में सरकार की।
देखिए, जो वित्त मंत्रालय का प्रस्ताव था उसको मंजूरी दे दी गई है, पर उसके जो जानकारी है, उसकी जो विस्तृत जानकारी है, वो माननीय वित्त मंत्री आपको मुहैया कराएंगे।
Of the decision to convert the Suti stake into an asset management company. So has that, if you could repeat that in English.
Well, whatever was the proposal of the finance ministry has been approved. With regard to the fine print of the proposal, the honorable finance minister or the finance ministry would brief you in detail.
Mr. Naik, you had a question?
What about the FDI in railways? Did it come up in the cabinet?
Sorry?
FDI in railways. FDI in railways.
In railways?
Yeah.
Well, whatever came up and whatever deserves your closest attention has been articulated and has been conveyed. So therefore, we are mandated to brief on those items which are cleared by cabinet, and the items which were cleared by cabinet have been put before you in detail. But yes, in order to satiate your curiosity, I can say that it did not come up.
Yes.
Well, the exact breakdown as to how many seats would be added in this particular year can be maybe provided by the health ministry to you, because I do not want to really go wrong on that. But let me look through the note and just try and see if I can give an answer off the bat. If there is a breakdown year-wise. Well, my prima facie perusal of the note does not indicate that well, 2013, 2014, let me defer on the side of caution and let me come back to you with a figure which is correct, because I don't want to just sort of flip through the note and give you a figure which then turns out to be incorrect. Let me come back to you with the correct figure.
For center.
Well, the press release that we will put out, we will give you a breakdown of the seats between the center and the state in terms of how many the central colleges would be getting and the state colleges would be getting, as well as we'll try and put out as to how many seats would come in every year.
So what's the quantum of money that's going to be drawn to BSNL and MTNL? And was there any representation by the finance minister on how it would be difficult to do it in a year where there's a lot of fiscal constraints?
Well, the amount to be refunded to BSNL is 6,724.51 crores, and to MTNL is 4,533.97 crores. And if I understand it correctly, it would be staggered and it would be done over a period of time. So, sorry? BSNL 6,724.51 crore और MTNL 4,533.97 crore. 4,533.97 crores for MTNL and 6,724.51 crores for BSNL. Insofar as the schedule for refund is concerned, that's why I said that the Honorable Telecommunications Minister, would brief in detail and sketch out as to how exactly would this entire process unfold.
And so what was the reason for returning that payment? What was the reason for them returning this?
Well, as you are aware that there is a group of ministers which is looking into the entire question of revival of MTNL and BSNL. So therefore, the group of ministers, considered the proposal and felt that possibly for the revival of both these public sector units, there is a need to refund them, for the spectrum which was then was allocated to them because they did not participate in the auction at that point in time, and it would contribute towards the revival of those companies. So therefore, that's the broad rationale for refunding it.
And so if I'm just asking, this year, what is the payment that will be made?
Well, as I said, that insofar as this particular year is concerned, I would leave it to the Honorable Telecommunications Minister to give you a repayment schedule.
Yes, there's a question. One moment. There's a question from that side. Just one moment.
Regarding the television rating, will there be any change in the intervals of the rating, means from weekly rating to monthly rating or something like that?
Well, it's a fairly comprehensive guideline. So therefore, I think, without going into the finer details, since we are going to be putting out a press release which is going to give the salient aspects of it, and obviously once we notify the guidelines, the entire scope of the guidelines would be available for your consideration. I think let's just await the guidelines being there in its entirety, rather than cherry pick on particular aspects, because that will allow you to appreciate the proposal in its entirety.
Manish, there was a Delhi Hotel Act was supposed to be repealed today. Has it come in the cabinet? Delhi Hotel Act.
G.
It was repealed.
Well, in the sense it obviously has to be repealed by Parliament. So, if an act has to be repealed, it has to be taken to
Cabinet
the House.
approved it.
It cannot be done by an executive action. So obviously the Cabinet has given its approval. And,
Yeah.
The legislative process would follow itself through.
Would it be fair to say that there will be a regulator for the TV rating agencies, and also the TRAI will not be regulating the TV rating agency, and the purview will be with the ministry only? So the guidelines would be...
Well, see, insofar as the broadcasting sector is concerned, we have issued guidelines from time to time on various aspects of the broadcasting paradigm. Uplinking, downlinking guidelines, direct-to-home guidelines, and all of them have been done with cabinet approval. Concurrently, in 2004, TRAI was given jurisdiction over broadcasting because broadcasting services were defined as telecommunication services. So on certain aspects of it, TRAI has concurrent jurisdiction. But to say that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting would be a regulator on the rating agencies would be an incorrect statement. That would not be a correct statement. Yes, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting would be the registering authority, from where you'll have to obtain registration in order to then go ahead and carry out your legitimate business activity.
Yes.
Manish, one non-cabinet question.
Are we done with the cabinet questions?
Any other questions on cabinet?
Today the AG in court said, where coal allocation is concerned, of course policies are always, intended well, but sometimes they go wrong. Something to that effect is what he said where the coal allocation is concerned. In a takeoff from that, Arun Jaitley has said that coal block should now be cancelled, scrapped. It's essentially where your government is concerned. Does it put you in a more embarrassing light?
Well, I think the answer is implicit in your question itself. When you refer to the fact that the Honorable Attorney General has said something to that effect. Now that something to that effect, leaves room for a lot of ambiguity. So before asking the Honorable Attorney General as to what exactly has he said in a matter which is sub judice, it will be inappropriate for me to comment. I would, since you've asked the question, I would check with him, what exactly transpired in court and whether it is appropriate for the government to be at all briefing in a matter which is sub judice and under consideration of the Honorable Apex Court.
And Arun Jaitley has of course said that these coal blocks should be...
Well, Mr. Jaitley's response, obviously must be to media reports which have been playing themselves out and on which your question is based. So before confirming the veracity of what exactly the Honorable Attorney General has said, I would not be in a position to react to the statement of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
But sir, the Attorney General Bhanumati actually made a submission to the court, oral as well as written, and eventually he even gave an interview to us where he said that essentially the point of his argument was that the policy was well intended but something went wrong, and this is perhaps for the first time that the centre has admitted in court that policy was well intended, but things didn't go the way you wanted it to.
Sandeep, having spent a little time in courts in my earlier avatar, I consider it to be an occupational hazard to try and second guess what another lawyer has said in a court. You may be absolutely correct that he's given you an interview, but let me cross-check as to in what context has it been said. And then I would come back to you with a structured response. I don't think it is fair on the government or on my part to be really giving an off-the-cuff response to a matter which is under the consideration of the highest court.
मुझे एक अलग सवाल है। आज एक YouTube पे वीडियो जारी हुआ है जिसमें बॉर्डर में जो सैनिकों के सिर काटे गए थे उसके बाद पाकिस्तानी सेना जश्न मनाते हुए दिखाई गई उसमें बाकायदा वो लोग मतलब जश्न मना रहे हैं तो क्या भारत सरकार इस पर कुछ कार्रवाई करेगी?
देखिए, अगर इस तरह का YouTube वीडियो जारी किया गया है या कोई वीडियो जारी किया गया है तो ये तो अत्यंत ही दुखद बात है और बहुत ही निंदनीय है और ज़रूर रक्षा मंत्रालय उसकी छानबीन करके उसकी जो वेरासिटी है उसकी जांच पड़ताल करके जो भी उचित कार्रवाई होगी वो उचित कार्रवाई ज़रूर करेगी।
There are newspaper reports, आज इस तरह की रिपोर्ट्स हैं कि आपकी गवर्नमेंट बहुत जल्द ओपिनियन पोल्स पर बैन लगाने वाली है। इलेक्शन कमीशन ने ऐसा रिकमेंडेशन भेजा था, वो हमें मालूम है। क्या गवर्नमेंट वाकई ये कंसिडर कर रही है एंड इन कमिंग कैबिनेट मे बी इन अनदर कैबिनेट और कैबिनेट टू फॉलो इस तरह का डिसीजन होने वाला है कि आप लोग ओपिनियन पोल को बैन करने वाले?
देखिए, मैंने भी ये खबरें आज सुबह पढ़ी हैं, पर जहाँ तक मेरी जानकारी है कि एक प्रस्ताव ज़रूर है कि जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल्स एक्ट है उसमें कुछ तब्दीली की जाए, जिसमें जिन लोगों के ऊपर आरोप पत्र दाखिल किए गए हैं उनके चुनाव लड़ने पर रोक लगाई जा सके। पर उसका पूरा मसौदा क्या है अभी मेरी पूरी जानकारी में नहीं है। अगर कोई इस तरह का प्रस्ताव होगा और उसके ऊपर सरकार अगर कोई राय बनाएगी तो ज़रूर आपको उससे अवगत करा दिया जाएगा।
आज कैबिनेट की बैठक में काफी लंबे समय बाद कई बड़े-बड़े फैसले लिए गए और ऐसा लग रहा है कि अगले 2-3 महीने में सरकार कई अहम फैसले लेने वाली है। तो कुछ अगर आप हिंट्स दे पाए कि अगले 2-3 महीने में सरकार का क्या रोड मैप है, क्या प्लान है, कौन-कौन से बड़े फैसले लेने की कोशिश करेगी?
देखिए, सरकार तो पिछले 10 साल से फैसले लेती आ रही है, पर कभी-कभी जो हमारे मीडिया के साथी हैं उसको एक बेहतर परिप्रेक्ष्य में शायद देखना नहीं चाहते, तो हमारी तरफ से फैसले लेने में कभी कोई कमी नहीं रही है। आपसे हम उम्मीद रखेंगे कि उन फैसलों को एक रचनात्मक परिप्रेक्ष्य में देखें।
Sir, just if I could put the question another way, there seems to be a last-ditch attempt to reverse the impression of a policy paralysis. Would you agree with that?
Well, first of all, I fundamentally dispute the argument that there was a policy paralysis. If you look at the last 10 years or 9.5 years in a perspective, government has consistently been taking decisions on the executive and the legislative side, notwithstanding the fact that on the legislative side, Parliament, has barely functioned. So therefore, this entire perception of policy paralysis was erroneous, and that's why I said that maybe, it is time that our friends in the media do start appreciating the efforts of the government in a proper perspective. Thank you.